Jake leases a car. Marcus buys the exact same car. Same dealership, same model, same color, even the same salary. Both of them make around $55,000 a year, and both walk into that showroom believing they're making the smarter financial decision. Jake looks at the lower monthly payment and feels relieved. $299 a month sounds manageable, almost harmless. Marcus, meanwhile, signs a much heavier payment and immediately feels the pressure. More than $500 leaving his account every month for the next several years. From the outside, the answer seems obvious. Jake looks financially flexible. Marcus looks financially trapped. But that's the illusion that catches millions of people, because neither of them stop to ask the only question that actually matters. What does this decision cost over the long term? Most people don't buy cars based on total cost. They buy based on what feels affordable right now. They see the monthly payment, not the years attached to it, and that's where the trap begins. A low payment can make an expensive mistake feel comfortable. It can disguise debt as freedom. It can create the dangerous feeling that you're winning financially, when in reality, you're quietly locking yourself into years of permanent payments. And the scariest part is that the system is designed to make it feel normal. Because sometimes the thing that feels affordable today is the exact thing destroying your financial future tomorrow. At first, Jake genuinely feels like he beat the system. He walks out of the dealership with a brand new car, a lower monthly payment, and the comforting belief that he made the financially responsible choice. $299 a month doesn't feel dangerous. In fact, compared to Marcus's $500 payment, it feels smart, lightweight, manageable. Jake still has room in his budget to go out with friends, save a little money, and enjoy life without constantly worrying about a massive car bill hanging over his head. And the dealership reinforces that feeling perfectly. Full warranty coverage, no major repair anxiety, no fear of surprise mechanical problems. If something breaks, it's covered. Everything about the experience is designed to make leasing feel smooth, modern, and stress-free. Meanwhile, Marcus drives home feeling the exact opposite. Every month, he watches over $500 disappear from his bank account while the value of his car keeps dropping. The moment he drove it off the lot, it already lost thousands in value. For the first couple of years, he even owes more on the loan than the car is worth. Psychologically, that feels terrible. Every payment feels heavy. Every bill feels like proof he made the wrong decision. And if you ask most people at that point who made the smarter move, they would probably say Jake. Because in the beginning, leasing doesn't feel like a trap. It feels like freedom. That's what makes it so convincing. The truth is, most people are not buying cars because they carefully analyze the long-term math. They're buying emotions. The car is just the physical object attached to something deeper. Validation, status, identity, the feeling of finally looking successful. Jake doesn't just enjoy driving a new car, he enjoys what the car says about him. The clean interior, the modern dashboard, the compliments from friends, the silent feeling that maybe he's finally doing well in life, and modern financing culture makes this incredibly easy. Everything today is built around monthly payments, because monthly payments make expensive lifestyles feel normal. A $1,000 phone becomes only $30 a month. Multiple streaming subscriptions become background noise. Designer clothes, luxury apartments, vacations, even food delivery habits all become small recurring charges instead of large financial decisions. Over time, people stop asking, "Can I actually afford this?" and start asking, "Can I afford the payment?" That shift changes everything, because once your lifestyle expands around monthly obligations, you slowly become dependent on constant income just to maintain the image you built. And the most dangerous part is how emotionally justified it feels. People convince themselves they deserve it. They work hard, they're stressed, they want to enjoy life now, so the payment feels harmless. But little by little, these comfortable decisions stack on top of each other until financial pressure becomes permanent. And without realizing it, Jake's story starts looking a lot like everyone else. 3 years pass faster than Jake expected. The excitement of the new car slowly faded into routine, and the monthly payment became just another automatic charge in his life. At first, the lease felt temporary, almost strategic, like he had found a smarter way to enjoy a good car without carrying the burden of ownership. But the moment he drives back to the dealership at the end of the lease, something uncomfortable becomes clear. Nothing is actually finished. The contract may be ending, but the financial cycle isn't. Suddenly, Jake is presented with 3 options. He can buy the car for the remaining value, hand the keys back and walk away, or start a brand new lease on another vehicle. On paper, all 3 sound reasonable. But psychologically, the system quietly pushes him toward one decision. Lease again, another low monthly payment, another new car, another feeling of comfort. So Jake signs another contract, another down payment, another 36 months. And that's the moment the illusion finally starts to crack. Because while the odometer resets back to zero, the payments don't. They never do. Meanwhile, Marcus is still making his loan payments too, but there's a major difference Jake didn't fully understand before. Marcus has an end date. Every payment brings him closer to owning something outright. Jake's payments only bring him closer to starting over again. That's the hidden design behind the entire system. It's not built to help people finish payments. It's built to normalize permanent payments. The car changes, the contract changes, the dashboard changes, but the money keeps leaving every single month. And for the first time, Jake begins to realize that what looked like flexibility may actually be a treadmill with no exit. After a while, Jake stops thinking about the payment entirely. The $299 leaving his account each month no longer feels like a decision. It becomes part of the background, like electricity bills, phone plans, streaming subscriptions, and every other automatic charge modern life quietly attaches to people. That's what makes permanent payments so dangerous. Not because they hurt all at once, but because they slowly become invisible. Jake still works hard, still earns a decent salary, and from the outside his life looks stable. But underneath that, stability is a system constantly draining small amounts of money from him every single month. The car payment leads to insurance. Insurance leads to credit card balances. Credit cards lead to financing habits. Soon, life becomes a chain of recurring obligations that never fully disappear. And this is where modern consumer culture becomes psychological, not just financial. People are taught to focus on affordability, not ownership. As long as the monthly number feels manageable, the purchase feels justified. A car becomes a payment. A phone becomes a payment. Furniture becomes a payment. Even vacations become payments stretched across years. The problem is that eventually your income stops belonging to your future and starts belonging to your obligations. You wake up every month already owing money before you even begin living. And over time, Jake realizes something uncomfortable. Most people are not trapped because they earn too little. They're trapped because the payments never stop. The system survives by turning temporary desires into permanent financial commitments. And once those commitments become normal, freedom quietly disappears in the back. At first, Jake believed the lease gave him freedom. Low payments, minimal responsibility, no long-term commitment. But over time, he begins to notice something strange. The contract seems to control more parts of his life than he expected. Every extra mile suddenly matters. A few road trips here, a longer commute there, and now he's dangerously close to the mileage limit buried deep inside the agreement he barely read. Then come the wear and tear inspections. A small scratch on the door, minor damage on the wheel, stains in the back seat. Things Jake considered normal parts of using a car are suddenly translated into fees and penalties. And the worst part is that none of these costs appeared in the attractive monthly payment that convinced him to sign in the first place. Even returning the car comes with another surprise: a disposition fee, money charged simply for giving the vehicle back. The deeper Jake looks, the more he realizes the system was never designed around flexibility. It was designed around control. Leaving early becomes expensive. Driving too much becomes expensive. Using the car too freely becomes expensive. Little by little, Jake understands something uncomfortable. He doesn't truly own the experience of driving the car. He's renting access under a long list of invisible conditions. And that realization creates a deeper frustration than the payments themselves. Because hidden financial systems are dangerous not only because they cost money, but because they quietly remove freedom while making people believe they still have. By the time Marcus makes his final payment, something has changed that goes far beyond the car itself. The vehicle is older now. It doesn't have the newest technology, the flawless smell of a showroom interior, or the excitement that Jake still gets every few years from signing a fresh lease. But for the first time in years, Marcus experiences something Jake still hasn't felt: silence. No car payment leaving his account at the beginning of the month. No contract waiting in the background. No countdown toward another financial obligation. And that silence creates space. Breathing room. The kind of financial relief that doesn't look impressive on social media, but quietly changes a person's life. Suddenly, Marcus has extra money every month that isn't already promised to someone else. He can save more, invest more, recover from emergencies faster, or simply feel less pressure waking up every morning. The car may have depreciated, but the freedom attached to owning it has grown more valuable over time. That's the part most people miss when they only focus on appearances. Ownership is not exciting in the beginning. In fact, it often feels slower, heavier, and less glamorous. But ownership changes the direction of your finances because eventually the payment ends while the value of the asset, even if reduced, still belongs to you. Jake keeps upgrading his car. Marcus starts upgrading his stability. And over time, quiet financial stability becomes far more powerful than temporary status. Because real wealth is not about looking successful every month. It's about slowly reducing the number of things that own pieces of your future. In the short term, leasing feels like the smarter decision. The payments are lower, the stress feels smaller, and the lifestyle feels better almost immediately. That's why so many people choose it. Emotionally, leasing wins fast. It gives comfort today, flexibility today, validation today. But money has a survival philosophy that most people only understand too late. Short-term comfort and long-term freedom are rarely the same thing. Marcus suffers more in the beginning because buying forces him to carry heavier payments and accept temporary discomfort. Yet every payment slowly moves him closer to ownership, while Jake's payments simply restart the cycle again and again. And that's where the deeper difference appears. Poor financial thinking usually focuses on one question: how little can I pay this month? Wealth-oriented thinking asks a completely different question: how little will this cost me over the next 10 years? Those two mindsets create completely different futures. One prioritizes immediate relief, the other prioritizes long-term control. Because time is never neutral in financial decisions. Every year either builds your future or quietly drains it. A payment that feels harmless today can become a decade of dependency. A difficult sacrifice today can become years of breathing room later. That's why the real battle in personal finance is rarely about cars, phones, or monthly payments themselves. It's about whether your decisions are creating more ownership or more obligations over time. Eventually, mature financial thinking means accepting an uncomfortable truth. Freedom often looks expensive in the beginning, while financial traps almost always look affordable at first. To be fair, leasing is not always a bad financial decision. In some situations, it can actually make a lot of sense. Business owners can sometimes deduct lease payments through tax advantages, which changes the math completely. Luxury or high-performance cars are another example. When maintenance costs outside the warranty become extremely expensive, staying inside the lease cycle can protect you from massive repair bills. And technically, if someone takes the lower monthly payment from leasing and consistently invests the difference into assets that grow over time, they could come out ahead financially. But that's the part most people ignore. In theory, the savings get invested. In reality, they usually get spent. The extra money disappears into restaurants, subscriptions, shopping, vacations, and lifestyle upgrades. That's why this conversation is less about cars and more about behavior. A financial strategy only works if the person using it has the discipline to follow through long term. And for most average consumers driving average cars, leasing doesn't create wealth. It simply creates a more comfortable version of staying in debt. In the end, the real problem was never simply leasing or buying. Both can work, both can fail. The real trap is something much deeper and far more common: making life-changing financial decisions based only on what feels affordable this month. That's how people quietly lose decades of financial freedom without realizing it. They focus on the monthly payment because it feels smaller, safer, easier to justify. But almost nobody stops to calculate the true long-term cost of repeating those payments year after year. And that's where the system quietly wins. Not through one catastrophic decision, but through comfortable decisions repeated for years. Jake and Marcus didn't just choose different ways to get a car. They chose different relationships with time, ownership, and future freedom. One optimized for immediate comfort. The other slowly built stability. And that difference compounds far beyond a vehicle. Because every recurring payment is not just taking money from your account. It's taking a piece of your future earning power too. So, the next time a payment looks unbelievably affordable, stop and ask yourself one uncomfortable question: what is this actually costing my future?